Taking a look at streaming from home options this week, starting with Summerland, which stars Gemma Arterton, I probably pronounced that wrong, but whatever, Gugu Mbatha-Raw, and Penelope Wilton, who is Mrs. Crawley on Downton Abbey and who I love to bits. This movie was a little bit uneven for me. I laughed out loud very hard in the first few minutes. Like, I literally let out a guffaw without meaning to. So, started off on a very strong foot. It takes place during World War II in a seaside town in England, and basically Gemma's character plays a woman who lives kind of alone in a cottage and gets put in charge of a kid who is fleeing from London because it was during the bombings, and so they had to place kids, not in the center of a active war zone. And she plays this kooky character who isn't interested in, socializing or anything along those lines. And it does a quick job of establishing that. I think what it really buried the lead on, and hopefully this is not too spoilery, but this is a love story ultimately, and it's a love story between Gemma and Gugu's characters, and it takes a while to get there, but when it did reveal that, I was like, and I'm back in. This is much more interesting now. The relationship between kind of the main character and this kid is a little bit forced, and I get what they're doing right. It's kind of fish out of water and fish out of water, but ultimately the strongest parts of this movie are the love story, and I don't feel like it spent enough time in that part of it. Every time it came back to that, I was like, yes, I'm back in, and I would honestly phase out of paying attention a little bit in between. So I would say that there is potentially enough there to get you through this film, right? Like, it's a fine film. There are a couple moments where it's a little scenery chewing, but ultimately I think the acting during the love story parts is worth taking a look at. I just kind of wish it was more evenly distributed, or I'm not sure what it could have done to fix the inconsistency in quality between the story between the two actresses, and maybe it's just playing against child actors that's challenging, but I don't think it was the kid's fault. Like, the kid was pretty good in it. Ultimately, I think this is one of those films where, yes, if you take a look at the trailer, if it kind of vibes with you, if you like kind of this sort of it's a very British story, then absolutely take a look. If it doesn't really seem of interest to you, this is not one I'm going to push you to go see. There are plenty that I'm like, no, I promise you give it a chance. This one I'm like, you either are or you are not going to appreciate it. But I will say credit to where credit is due. There were definitely moments I really appreciated. I just wish it had been more consistent. So I'm going to give Summerland 3.3 out of 5. The other thing I want to give a quick shout out to is Umbrella Academy is back, and I absolutely loved season 1, and I can't wait to take a look at season 2. It came out today, so I haven't actually had a chance to dive into it too much. Of what I did watch of the first episode back, I think I need a refresher on season 1, and chances are you will too, and that is on Netflix.